Board of Works meeting to order, and we would have roll call.
Cam Collier.
Here.
Bill Carvada.
Here.
Ken Meyer.
Here. And you were all emailed a copy of our minutes from 3 weeks ago. We have a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Okay, Les, 6 o'clock, we're supposed to open some bids.
It's the legal that we advertised again.
I'd like to make the legal notice a matter of record that we advertise this.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the
Aye.
same. Matter of record. And, no, I don't think. You might want to...
It's on top, but it's the red button. Hold it
We should hold it in.
for a couple seconds, and then the light flashes.
It might need a battery. Hello. There, you're on. You're on. Okay, so this is opening of the bids for the fire department's grass truck, and again, we have just one bid. Last time it was, we had to throw it out because it was on the wrong form. Hopefully this time they will have submitted properly. Tim, if you need any help, just let me know.
Okay, the only bid submitted was submitted by First Attack Engineering, Inc. out of Waterloo, Indiana.
How much was it last time, Les? How much was it last time, 3 weeks ago?
106, 144.
Form 96 is included.
Yay.
It's properly signed. The bid amount is $106,144.
Imagine that. Took the words right out of your mouth, didn't I?
There's also a
I'm glad I'm not the only one that would rather be home.
bid bond in the amount of 10% of the bid, it looks like, so.
Okay, what I would like to do is to have a motion to take this under advisement. Les and Jim, and I think maybe a couple of us guys may go take a look at this, go over it, and before the meeting's over, come back and...
We got the bid spec, it's not like a big pumper.
Right.
You'd have
And make this...
specification that thick, it's just a couple pages, so.
And then go ahead and approve this evening. So what I need now is just for them to take it under advisement and come back in an hour or so.
Because we do need to encumber the funds.
Right.
And that would need to be...
So moved, that's fine, yeah.
Second. Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same?
And I'll let them take that. I have just a couple things.
Okay.
We need to make a matter of record that we spoke of earlier today.
Yeah.
We had put in the budget in 2016 a remodel of the dorm area, bedroom, bath, and it was either my oversight or Phyllis or one of us, but it was budgeted. We had 2 quotes. It was, quoted correctly. Tyler Fullenkamp Campman's ended up with the lowest bid. They've completed the work, so it's kind of sorry about it, it's kind of an afterthought, but we did either missed it or...
We need to go with Ken, because I'm not quite understanding.
Oh, yeah.
So we might not be through
Yeah.
that.
But I do have the 2 quotes that we had, and the renovation is complete, but...
Quotes were from Campman,
Campman's,
and no, I can't do it.
Yeah, Phyllis and I went through this earlier, on the corner.
Mr. Planners.
And actually, his bid was material for the bathroom only. It really didn't even include the carpet for the bedroom and other things, but it was time and material plus 10,000 and some change. So Campman's were by far the cheaper quote of the 2. But just want to make that a matter of record for
Just need to make it a matter of record that
Because
we had a
I
little
did-
oops, it was budgeted,
And it is, the claim is submitted.
it was bid out the proper way, however but he, Les had just forgotten that he never came and,
We had talked about it with conflict of interest back in January with Tyler, and that it wasn't really a go-ahead, I guess.
it was over 10,000?
It was 12,000.
Cheap sweet. Just kidding.
I guess the only thing you missed is...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It needs to be approved by the Board of Works.
This is the quotes, but I couldn't figure them out, and we're gonna have to review them again. Maybe
Well,
you can go through them, because
I can
the way I was
go through
totaling
it
it
while...
was the math thing.
I can go through it because what Mr. Planners did was he only quoted the bedroom reno, and then it was time and material, and he was already at 10,002, and that wasn't for labor to demolish or anything. So, and he didn't even include the bedroom in it.
So is the total amount the total of the 5 invoices?
There's 2 quotes there for the bedroom.
Yeah, one was that they did the painting. My memory serves me right. 'Cause this was-
Or these are just estimates, these aren't the actual invoices?
Right. This is in January, and the other
Go
one's...
through them quick.
Yeah, if
Okay.
you can,
I'll do the math.
or...
Okay.
Tyler can go over them.
All right,
That's okay.
Thank you.
And then,
we'll go over this when he comes back with the fire truck.
and then we did approve purchasing the 10 radios. I think we talked about where that was QPA, so it didn't get bid because it was done on the state QPA. So that will be...
We already did that? Okay.
We did that. And,
3 weeks ago?
yeah, at least 3 weeks.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Next up, let's talk code enforcement. Bill,
Oh,
you're on.
what do you want, the...
Well, before we even get into that, why don't I let Mr. Lopez...
All right.
Mr. Lopez wanted to come tonight and kind of voice his opinion on one of our ordinances. He was recently told to move a trailer off the street, I believe, because it's been parked there for a while.
Thank you.
I'm not looking to change anything, I'm just looking to maybe revisions on the order that you guys got here. So it's my understanding, as far as the date on this that I've got, it's 6/21 of 1983. I don't know if anybody got that sitting in front of them, but it's the ordinance on oversized vehicle parking, which Mr. Harbaugh had approached, actually my roommate, a couple of weeks ago, I believe, right? Mr. Harbaugh, was it? Okay. I don't know if it was you or a police officer.
It's Carbach.
Harbaugh.
Yeah, K-A-R-B-A-C-H, Carbach.
K, yeah.
Okay.
But that's fine. Your issue came in on a complaint,
Yeah.
and I felt that it was no longer at that time code enforcement. So yes, a police officer came.
Okay.
I just followed up because you had some questions about it and everything.
Yeah,
And I wanted to make sure that you understood where the city was coming from with
Sure.
the oversized vehicle.
Sure.
And I think you even received a
Yeah. I
copy
did.
of an oversized vehicle. So that's kind of where we're at.
Okay.
The police officer informed you, but it did come in on a complaint, so.
Okay, yeah. Now, I actually wasn't informed myself. Of course, it was my roommate that was there that took this. But anyways, my thing is that I done over-dimensional loads from 1990s all the way up until 2004 with Thunderbird and Pre-Stress and Fallcraft and Upride. And you guys got trailers, as far as the city ordinance, anything oversized. Doesn't matter what size it is. In the state of Indiana, does anybody even know what the dimensions are on over-dimensional load?
Chief?
As far as the state doesn't pertain to what we have in the ordinances, they don't have to be one and the same, right? It just depends at that time, if they just designate anything as a trailer, then it's exempt, or it's not exempt.
Okay.
The state, I'm not up to date on those rules. It used to be 55 feet or something like that, but I don't know what it is now.
Oh, as far as length?
Yes.
Okay. I was thinking you guys are more concerned about the width, but you're more concerned about the length?
No.
Because it's not stated.
Yeah, it's not stated.
It's what I'm saying is
But
maybe
see, you're
revisions
looking
could
at
be-
the state ordinance for oversized vehicle,
Yeah.
and we're talking about a total different subject here. We're talking about parking them.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, but I understand what you're saying, but my point is that when
You can't, I'm sorry, but you can't even park a semi technically on our city street, so.
and I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my thing is that when I look at this, and I was presented to it, and I didn't know there was an ordinance as far as having
Exactly.
my trailer on the,
Sure,
that's
until I
fine.
received this.
Right.
Well, when I got to looking at it, and I'm thinking, well, according to the state of Indiana, and I checked before I, got with you, it's 13.6 wide, okay? And it hasn't changed for several years, because that's what it was back in the day when I used to do dimensional lows. However, I do understand your point, too. It's a city thing, not a state thing.
Right.
Okay. Well, my thing is that maybe you might want to put that in the ordinance and revise it, and let people know, because when I see something like this, and as a professional over-dimensional load driver, I've got questions.
Mhm.
And so,
Well, if you look at-
and I thought since it hasn't been revised and it's been put into effect 1983, that's 33 years ago.
Mhm.
And I thought, well, might be a good time to address it, and Mr. Carball said I could come here and address it, and
Yep.
I happily moved and complied with what he had asked me to do, and I don't think we've had any more complaints on it, have we? Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so my thing is just, I'd like to try to maybe see some revisions on it from, and maybe put something in there pertaining to, I guess the size or exactly, so people, know when they fall into this category as far as like...
You understand, though, that if you did that, then there's, 15 items listed here. Then what size boat on a trailer? What size snowmobile trailer? What size,
Well, that's not,
et
but
cetera.
I'm talking about revisions as far as the state is concerned, 13.6, and let them know in this, saying that, this is a city ordinance. It's not state,
Not a state.
it's not a state
Right.
ordinance, so even though the state requires that, over-dimensional is 13.6, or 13.5, excuse me, maybe just revise that and let us know that it's not, in the, because I don't see anything like that in here stating that, the state says that over-dimensional is 13.5, to where this is a city ordinance.
But you are correct in that respect, but
Which is for what?
Again, is too, it really has
Previous
nothing
page.
to do with the sizes of, any other than saying oversized. That's
Yeah.
probably where
And that's where
but I think what more, and I may be
Which
wrong, what may be more intended on...
So this right here.
The fact that it's something other than a vehicle.
Okay.
Because most of the
Oversized
things
vehicle
on there,
parking.
Yeah.
Other than a semi.
So it goes down to right
Yeah,
here,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, but he's
I think
looking
most
at
everything
this
on
with
that
the
list
previous.
might be anything other than a vehicle. And I think that's where probably the intent was when they put those in there.
And Frank, Phyllis just pointed it out to me here. If you, on your page there, this C up here, that's in reference to the page prior. So then where it starts 7509 oversized vehicle
Okay.
parking,
I
that would
see.
be the rest of that column and down to 7510. And you can notice then after number 16, we have done some changes on it from time to time. it looks
Okay.
like.
2010.
Okay, so it has been updated, actually,
And so they just kept those definitions or those types there.
Okay.
Up to 2010.
So that's all I was really concerned about, so, I've complied, but I just thought maybe, maybe...
Yeah, I think the problem lies in the fact that, if you have a utility trailer and you pull it up in front of your house and you park it there, and it's there for a few days, even a week or so, probably nobody's going to say anything.
It's been there for 3 years.
But when it sits there for a long time, then after a while, it kind of becomes a permanent fixture to the street, and, yeah, so...
I mean, and it's been moved here and there, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah,
I mean,
right.
It just
Yeah,
didn't fit.
but it always gets parked
It always
back
gets
that same
parked right
spot,
there in
yeah.
the same spot, you know. And I went to my neighbors
Yeah.
before, coming here, and I've talked to each and every one of them as far as just a few houses down and a few houses on my street, and I haven't found anybody that's going to be man enough to complain. So, but
In that time, Frank, you weren't the only one.
Yeah, you weren't, there were 3.
There was 3 other ones, and I don't know if somebody just went around and saw these and just started complaining about them, because maybe they read the ordinance, but we didn't write the ordinance, anybody from this group, but I think the ordinance, the intent is, I was on the county Board of Zoning Appeals at one time, and at that time, our ordinance let developments have short driveways, narrow streets, and we had to change those ordinances only because we wanted wider streets and we wanted longer driveways, because we actually wanted no parking on the street. And personally, I think that's the intent now as a city, what we'd like to have, other than businesses. Then you have off-street parking for businesses and downtown. But city streets, as far as fire equipment getting through, as far as kids playing, riding their bicycles, they have to go out around the vehicle. And I think the intent was, okay, we'll let cars, but let's not let trailers, trucks, this type of thing park on the city street. So that was probably the initial intent. And it's only, like I said, it's only a safety concern.
Sure.
Because I live out on the golf course area, and there was a truck parked on our street, and somebody complained because kids were riding their bikes down the sidewalk, and then they'd come out on the street. Well, this thing was big enough that you couldn't actually see a kid until they got out in the street. So I think that's what the intent was.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
It's not because we don't necessarily want people not to be able to park their things.
No,
Right.
No, but we don't want a bunch of motor homes and a bunch of trailers and that type of thing. Now,
So
if you have a utility and you use it in your job, which I know you do, you pick it up and go every day, or you may park it there for a week. You might be on vacation. You might do this, might do that. Like the mayor said, we will cooperate with you on that point.
Okay.
But when we have a complaint, I know as code enforcement,
Especially when it's complaining really.
yeah, I like to come out and take care of the complaint. Okay? Just to show you that we're concerned about people's complaints. If we didn't do anything about it,
We get the complaint.
And Frank, I'm not even sure, were you just told to move it? Were you cited, or what was the...
No, I wasn't cited. I was just
You
told
just
to
asked
move
him,
it, and
just- okay.
my roommate was there, and he said, "Well, I've got access to the keys. I can move it right away."
Okay.
And I had happened. I think I called, and I think you were. Oh no, the police officer was there handing him this at the time I called on my lunch. And I could hear the conversation, and he says, "Well, you're safe until I got off work at Fleetwood at 4:30." So when I came home, I immediately, moved it, and then I got a hold of Mr. Carvall, and then I think the next day I had pulled up, and you were already there, and we had a discussion, and I told him, "Get the..." No, I didn't. No, I complied with him.
you wouldn't be the first one.
I had seen he had seen the trailer. He says, "Hey, thank you for complying." I said, I was going to do that, but and that's when I brought up, well, I'm a professional, oversized load. I mean, there's no sizes on here.
Yeah. And I think that's I don't think there needs to be, just because it's...
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, as far as it's a city, ordinance, not a state ordinance.
Right,
so.
yeah.
But I appreciate you guys letting me come in here and address this.
Your point is well taken, though. I mean, that this is a particular, says oversized vehicles,
Yeah.
but the
But it doesn't say what size.
Yeah, but it's part of the parking, broader
It's
scope.
more of a safety issue, like
Right.
you said, with the people.
I think so. I think you don't want a bunch of large vehicles parked out on city streets. I mean, I'm sure you wouldn't want somebody that has a semi to park it across the street from you every weekend or when he's in town, and I think that's what the police officers do. They kind of look for that, and if there's a complaint, they say something about it. Now, there's people that come and bobtail, and I've seen that happen, and the police officer will see them and talk to them and say, you know, as long as your neighbors are not complaining, we'll work with you, because, you know, they don't have any place to park a bobtail, so.
And also, even with parked vehicles, if they have, not only if they are inoperable, or if they haven't moved for an extended period of time, they have to be moved so that it shows that they're being used. Okay. So again, too, so it kind of works for the vehicles too.
Sure, okay.
In this case, it's...
All right. Well, I don't want to take up any more of your time.
We got a big agenda, that's right.
We got a big agenda, so, but I appreciate you guys hearing me out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good
Yep.
night.
Thank you.
All right, yep.
Now, Bill, back to your visits that you made.
Okay, I don't really need counsel on this. This is, what these are. Every year, I'll go and look into dilapidated garages and buildings and that. And this is what we came up with, or I came up with. I should say we. Roger and Jeremy helped me. But these areas are what I came up with this year.
That is amazing.
Isn't it, though?
And the first, what we're going to do this year, instead of just sending these out and then waiting for some conversation in return, Jeremy last year sent a letter out later, and this year we're going to send a letter out with the ordinance violation. And so I just wanted to let the Board of Works know kind of what I was doing.
Some beautiful,
Model A or Model B?
some beautiful structures here.
Okay.
Well, last year, I think we had 8 of them, and they were all tore down between the city and between the people, so it worked out quite well. But I think people just don't realize how dilapidated their areas get, so. The one here, on
Wow. It's got a beautiful tarp roof on it.
yeah. Yeah, 8th Street, this guy, last year we cited him, and he went and started tearing it down and hurt his finger. So we worked with him a little bit on this, but I think it's time now that he finishes the project and gets it torn down the rest of the way. That's the one at 204 South 8th Street. So.
So, they're going to get this cover letter,
Yep.
along with the pictures and the notice to abate, right?
Yep.
Perfect,
Okay.
in my mind. Cam, you agree?
Yep. You're just notifying us that you did this already, right?
I'm notifying that I'm going to do this yet.
We'll make it a matter of record?
Yeah.
Okay. Cam?
So moved.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Roger, come on
I
up.
want to take a picture.
Sir, are you by any chance Mr. Dunn? Okay, you can come on up too if you'd like. We have Ken Dunn from Mobility, Roger, you got that? Mobility. We had a big discussion as to whether it was Mobilite or Mobility.
I swear to God, the CEO thought he'd come up with the most ridiculous spelling and go with it. You were not the first, you will not be the last.
I thought it was mobile.
We've had a lot of fun with it.
Mobility Light, there you go, I like that.
Okay, did Bill and Cam, did you guys have a chance to review the information I'd sent you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. If you'd like to state your case, sir, go ahead.
What to do, and
Yeah.
they've got questions.
Sure. So, a little bit of background. My co-worker, Scott, met with the mayor, city attorney, and Roger back apparently on 7/18, and presented what we were looking at doing. That was actually my first day with Mobility. I was in Chicago that day getting my training. On August 17th, I came down, I met with Roger, and the two of us drove around and looked at there's actually 4 total sites that we're looking at. And 2 of them we agreed to relocate, and these 2, one of them we just shifted slightly to be more in line with the back of the adjacent building, and the other one he just wanted me to get information about the buried gas line, and we did make contact with Buckeye Pipeline Company to verify that our proposed location would be in compliance with their existing gas line, and they were fine with it. They just requested that we notify them when we're ready to install on the day of so that they have somebody available if needed. I went back and changed the construction documents as well so that they were metal poles instead of wood poles as requested by the city. And then at that time, from that original meeting on the 18th of July, it was our understanding that we'd be going to the Board of Zoning Appeals and Planning Commission, so we got all the documentation put together for that. And then this past week, I was informed that the process changed and that it was instead going to be coming in front of the Board of Works, and so we're here tonight. So I thought I was going to present the BZA, and now I get you guys, which is fine with me. I got no problem with that.
And you understood the explanation?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good with whoever we present to, but so Mobility is a cellular and data communication infrastructure provider. We don't own any wireless bands or anything like that. We own the equipment which the data and the bands pass through. We're doing a nationwide build-out of small cell technology, which is what these are proposed to be. Basically what this is the new phasing of what we're used to with cell towers to handle the amount of data that we're all using now because we have smartphones instead of flip phones. What we're used to with cell towers, 200 and 300 feet in the air with the triangles that kind of sit on the top of them, that technology was all based around split phones. And all of our use of cell phones is inundating that system. A smartphone uses 41 times more data per month than a flip phone did. And so cell towers can't keep up with that demand, and to try to keep up with that demand would be putting up many towers, which is not, one, cost effective because the land leases for those towers are quite expensive, and also we already don't like the towers as they are, so increasing the numbers of them doesn't help anything at all. And then also a lot of the demand and use now is more concentrated in specific locations, and looking forward it's going to be even more concentrated because we're looking at smart cars and the Internet of Things, which is all of our, potentially, our appliances, everything else also connecting in with the wireless infrastructure and interacting with each other, smart grid technology within electric companies and all of that. And that's where we need to start getting these that data capacity at a smaller scale and more concentrated within urban environments. And putting cell towers in the downtown of an area or even within urban centers just doesn't make sense. And so the next phase of that is to look at how do we do that but keep things more of a look and feel of an urban center. And so now what they're coming out with is these small cells. So what our proposal is, is a utility pole, wood utility pole. It's 75 foot tall. There's an antenna on top that's 3 foot in height, conical in shape, about 6 inches in diameter, and that sticks to the top of the pole. And that's what actually interacts with the cell phone. It's same type of antenna that you find on the big cell towers, but much smaller shape. And it handles a smaller geographic area, whereas cell towers handle miles. We're talking about hundreds of meters. That's why for Decatur there's a total of 4 that would be needed. Also on that pole is, of course, an electric meter. The only thing that's running to it, which is where mobility has a more advanced setup than a lot of other people have been putting out small cell technology. You do our backhaul wirelessly. Backhaul being taking the data and sending it back out to the network. Most others that are on the market right now have to connect to a fiber optic. We do all ours wirelessly, and then in different part within the network is where we would connect into the fiber optic network and out to the rest of the cell industry. So what that means is that when we're looking to install, all we have to do is put a pole in the ground and run electricity to the pole. So you'll have electric feed that goes to the pole, either underground or above ground, depending on proximity to the electrical source. Electric meter, of course, for that electrical feed, and then a radio box that sits on there that takes that antenna on the top is collecting all the information from the cell phones. The radio processes it into only the information that's necessary, and then it sends it back through another radio, which is about the size of a top hat, which is called a backhaul. And that sends that signal back out through the network into the existing cellular infrastructure already in place, and on from there. So what this does is it increases the speeds, which is important today. The higher speeds, the better it is, both for the consumer, businesses, etc. And also decreases demand on the cell towers, because these are what your phone is connecting to, and then that backhaul signal is what the cell phone connections go to. Also, this whole industry is based on data. That way, when you're making a phone call, that would still connect to those cell towers, but now you're not using your data through that cell tower. So it's just amplifying and speeding up what we need going forward. Right now, the industry is looking at twofold increase in the next 5 years in the amount of data that's needed. And then these also, we're thoroughly in 4G right now. These are working our way to 5G. This infrastructure is easily upgraded for when 5G comes into play.
So these are just for cell tower?
These are just for
cell phones,
data.
Cell data.
And
not home internet type thing, it's just a cell?
Yes, but, and the only reason I say but is because all 4 carriers have infrastructure for home Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm. So. And I think Mr. Huff, was that his name? Scott Huff?
Scott Huff.
Huff.
Yeah.
When he was here, he had shared with us that Mobility has an agreement, a partnership kind of with Sprint.
The first person going through these is Sprint, but we work with all 4 carriers, and we do have contracts with the others too. And our poles are designed to be able to do at least 2 co-locations, as they are, and it can do up to 4. So as others come on and are interested in using our technology as well, we can potentially coast 2 on 1 pole.
Okay. And nowhere in anything that when Mr. Hoff talked to us, or was there ever any discussion about leasing the land or anything like that, okay?
Correct.
Do you pay for the land
We
that
we are a certified local exchange carrier with the IURC. So we have the same rights and responsibilities of any other CLEC in the state of Indiana. And so we are more than willing to pay any of the fees associated with use of the road right-of-way that any other utility would use.
Okay. Because we do charge...
Yeah, whatever it is that when electrical puts a pole up, etc., we're in the same ballpark.
Is it possible to put antenna on existing structure?
It's complicated. In terms of what are you referring?
Well, I've seen some of the just images and searching for mobility, like on top of existing light posts
Okay.
or other structures that are already in our community.
So, yeah, there's kind of multiple parts to that. Yes, that is possible. Why we propose and prefer to use new poles is for flexibility in maintenance and that kind of thing. When you attach other things, you have to always run those through those, and so it becomes complicated. The other part of that is a light pole isn't 75 foot. The reason we look for 75 foot is that gives the optimal location for that antenna to go largest span of coverage as possible. You know, flashlight, as you pull up from the table, the beam gets larger. Same thing with the antenna. Above 75, you get to a point where it's not longer helping anymore. That's why we have a 75-foot pole. Anything less than that means that we need more of that. So the reason that we propose new poles at 75 foot is that is the optimal coverage so that there's as few new poles as possible, and it gives the coverage that we need. So can we locate? Yes, but if we're located on a light pole that's only 35 foot in height, instead of doing one, we'd be looking at doing multiple. You know, for each one of these 75 footers, we'd be looking at multiple of those co-locations.
What justifies your existence in a city like Decatur?
The demands of the network. They run extensive data to verify that these are necessary. They don't want to invest unless it's needed. The data needs for Decatur are such that they need to build these at enhance.
Are you in any other cities?
Oh, yes.
Around here?
Yeah, yes. I'm the regional coordinator for permitting managing in South Bend and Fort Wayne region. We have.
Where are you currently?
Yeah. What cities are you in?
We have permits procured in New Haven, in Huntington City. I've worked extensively in Bluffton for coming up with a location for them, and we've got a location they're comfortable with that I'll be bringing to them sometime, probably in January, for approval there. Multiple in Allen County.
Installed? Any of these installed?
Not installed currently. We will be having, I believe, a couple of them installed this month down in Marion, Indiana, and I think a couple up in Elkhart County. The only reason they haven't been installed yet is because there was a back order on the actual antenna. Yeah, I guess some of these permits I've had for 3 and 4 months now, but they were back called they're back ordered for the antenna, so they couldn't start putting them up yet.
Do you lease private property to install these as well?
Not at this time, no. With
I'd rather see it.
the purpose of our working on it with the CLX status is that we put these into the road right-of-way. Although with one of the locations that we looked at, we're actually looking at putting one of these on municipal property behind the police station to avoid putting in the road right-of-way facing to a resident that was not, that we didn't want to deal with, from my understanding.
Do we have any codes, Roger, that would prohibit a telecommunication tower in our, within...
No.
Do we have any other cell towers in the city limits?
Well, the only ones we have is those, like you see, over here by the telephone company, down by the...
The larger one, down by the hospital.
Yeah, big things.
Yeah.
County jail.
Do we have any of them, do we have any cell providers located
The only thing we've
in our...
been dealing with is the fiber optic people. That's what I was...
We don't have any in any of our right-of-ways right now, right?
Well, not that I'm aware of, that there hasn't been anything come through like that before.
As far as towers?
Yes.
Or large
How big a diameter are
poles?
them steel poles? Ken, do you know, Jim?
About a foot, maybe a foot and a half.
Well,
He's
Just a
talking
standard
wood now,
utility
though.
pole.
You're talking wood now, right?
I'm sorry?
You're talking wood?
No, these are metal. The city requested that we do metal.
Okay.
the metal ones, yeah.
We usually do wood, but the city requested metal, so we amended the construction drawings for that.
The only concern that I have is, under the code, Indiana 8-1-32.3, one of those sections says that you can't discriminate. So the issue is we don't have any providers of wireless services in our right-of-ways right now. Once we permit it, now we're going to be opening up our right-of-ways for everyone.
I will take that back. I guess the only wireless ones I know of that are in town are the ones at the schools. They put them up to talk to the schools, southeast, northwest, and the big high school.
Those don't exist anymore.
Those don't exist anymore? Okay.
So that's the issue that I see.
We're opening ourselves up to
Well, and it's your decision. You know, I don't know if the department heads have weighed in on this, because, Mr. Dunn, what we're running into is our right-of-ways are filling up. I mean, it's getting to the point, just like you said, you don't like to co-locate on an existing pole, because every time you have to do maintenance, it creates an issue, because you got to now deal with other parties. It's the same thing for us. If we're trying to fix a water main break, or we're trying to fix a sewer, or we got to repave our road, we have to work with all the utilities that are already in our right-of-way. And that, it's gotten to the point where, you know, now we're dealing with gas providers, electrical providers, the fiber optic services.
Fiber optic.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's creating real problems for our public work department to maintain our infrastructure. So the issue is, does this make sense to allow this to now be in the right-of-way too? I think once you do, then you've opened the door that you can't say no to anybody else that might come in, whether it's a competitor or mobility wants to put poles up.
My understanding on the language is not just as far as non-discrimination between providers, but also non-discrimination between CLECs in general. And so saying that if you allow other CLECs with IURC in, you also are to allow us as a CLEC in.
And I talked to both the Regulatory Commission and Indiana Association of Cities and Towns, and IACT has a different opinion from what you just expressed.
Oh, IACT.
Yes.
One of the things that we had done recently was go back and verify our standing with the IURC, because we had a couple of people call and somebody with IURC was questioning our status, and so we went back and discussed them, and we were reaffirmed that we do have the status.
Yeah, you
playing with IURC.
Right, I understand that.
Okay. As far as a precedent setting of any capacity, I guess the one thing that I would say is there's only 4 major providers within, and mobility works with all 4 of them: Sprint, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. If you're looking at as a precedent, what the precedent you're potentially setting, you know, we're looking at 4 poles. That's a total of 16. This isn't, you know, Ma Bell coming in the 1950s and putting a pole every 50 feet across throughout the whole city and hitting every single home. So the whatever precedent you're concerned about isn't real major as far as that. There's not going to be a new provider that comes on anytime soon. They want to combine. The federal government is preventing them from doing that, basically. So.
What, I'm sorry, the 4 locations that you had.
That's what I want to know. Where's the 4 locations?
There's the 2 that you have right now. The one is by the police station, and the 4th one
was...
well, hold on, let's back up, because these are council members that have joined us here.
Yeah. The 2 we have now, one's out on Pickway Road, fairly close to the middle school entrance, to the middle school south entrance. And the other one is out at the south end of Village Green Shopping Center along Bowman Street.
And those are 2 that are presented today.
Right. Then the other 2 that you were interested in would be?
That one is going to be located behind the police station. Originally, we were going to put it out on the street across from the police station, and we requested not to do that, so we're looking at putting it back behind in municipal property there. And then the 4th one, and I'm forgetting...
That was down on the Worthington and 11th Street.
Thank you.
Yeah. Down near the Novelty, down that way.
Well, yeah, it was more like where Marshall Zimmerman used to have his... lot.
You know where Ruan used to have their facility there, kind of just to the west of that a little bit. There's kind of a row of poles along there.
Yeah.
Yep. Alan?
Well, you're saying behind the police station, does that mean on the other side of the railroad tracks? Does that mean on...
Between, right now at least, we're looking at between the police station and the railroad tracks.
Yeah, we'll try to get it back as far, close as we can to the railroad right away. I don't know how much they've got there yet.
Al?
Okay, if these are metal poles, are they, like, have a flange bottom on it, concrete base with stuff sticking up? How's that going to work?
It's, yeah, it's a concrete foundation that it's bolted into.
Like a light, or like
Yeah. Like
Kind of like the poles that they put up on the power lines.
Any mileage.
How much room are they going to take up for that base?
The base is maybe 2 foot diameter, not much bigger than the pole itself at the bottom, which I think is what's the bottom dimension of
It
it?
doesn't really have one on there. It's in there deeper. Look it all up. You can take that one. You can look at that.
And while they're looking at that, just so you understand, initially this was filed with the BZA, but it really belongs before the Board of Works because you control right-of-ways. But like on the property behind the police station, that probably goes before the BZA. There's still going to have to be site review or plan review and approval because under our ordinance, it's allowed by special use exception. So that's why it goes before the BZA.
Yeah.
So, the way it looks now, there'll never be a tower for the police station, is that correct?
At this point in time, I mean, we have no plans for a tower.
So you're using wireless, or?
Yes, yes.
So you don't have plans for a pole, like they're gonna put up out
No.
the gate, right? So right now, we're just talking about one pole somewhere around there.
The concrete base is, I believe it's 2 foot in diameter, and the pole's about 1.5 foot.
So you have some agreements with New Haven, Huntington, Bluffton. Was there any that are actually erected anywhere that we could see?
Yeah.
Like, locally?
Locally, no.
In the area.
I can show you a picture. Like I said, right now they haven't been installed because of the back order on the.
That Marion might be the soonest?
Yeah, I believe that this month they're looking to build some in Marion. They're going to build some up in Elkhart County. Those ones would be on wood.
If you have pictures, I would like to see them.
Yeah, I have a picture of it. I just threw this together real quick.
The mayor of Marion.
Yeah.
Who is it?
What's his face name?
I don't think.
Wayne Siebel.
Not the skater anymore.
That's actually what I was thinking.
This is a metal that was built, I believe, in Atlanta. I used that one because you guys had requested to be on metal. We have built wood ones down in, and I'll need these back, so feel free to look.
This and this.
We have
thing right
built
here.
ones in the air down in Marion County, but those ones are wood.
The agreement you have in New Haven has been, you actually have a permit issued.
Yes, we have a permit issued. We have permits issued, similar size as Decatur would be New Haven. We have multiple approved in Huntington City. A number of these in Allen County, in Elkhart. Elkhart County has a couple approved. Bristol Town has one approved. Have applications. A number of these are in applications in Fort Wayne, South Bend. Some of the locations in Huntington City, the location needs to be amended so that they've been recycled within the system to change locations. But those will be approved once we get the location changes.
Well, how many would you put up in a city like Fort Wayne?
Fort Wayne, I believe there's a total of, I want to say 18.
New Haven?
New Haven was just one. It used to be, it would have been in Fort Wayne, it was an area that, or it would have been in Allen County, it was an area that was recently annexed. Huntington City is similar number as here, I think, 4 or 5 of them.
Now, Ken, when you said there's like Sprint and the other 4 that would they come in and want to set poles, or can they attach to you?
We can, without question, do 2 on the existing poles, and then if more are interested in co-locating, what we generally say is that we just put in a different pole that would be able to support. The existing pole that we're proposing can handle 2. We're more than happy to have more co-locating because it's good for us, good for the city.
So if more than two wanted to come in, we would have to put new poles in.
We could replace that pole with something else that hold. The structural capacity of the pole that we have can hold two. As it is. If we had four that all could put it in the same location, and that's probably pretty true. There's certain things, I guarantee you, the ones going by the middle school because of the demand of the middle school. So the other carriers probably have the same issues in that same location. So that one really probably would definitely be a potential for co-locating. And if all four needed it and they're all working with mobility, we just replace that pole with a structural pole that can handle all four.
Let me speak up to what I'm inclined here to think. Tim and myself and Roger were kind of the only three that really have any background at all with your company, and it's not that much. Bill and Cameron, this is brand new to them, so I would prefer that we not make any decision this evening. And that way you guys can read the information, you can...
I would personally like to see some of these installed and talk to the mayor or Board of Works at those cities to see how they feel.
Why not? I don't know. Who owns the big tower right here?
Sprint.
Embark, whatever they call it.
Embark, yeah.
I mean, do you install, aside from erecting a new pole, do you install on existing structures already?
Well, like we discussed, that there is the potential that we could look at co-locating on light poles, some of the things that we've done there.
Well,
this isn't infrastructure that goes on cell towers. That's a different level of infrastructure.
I guess I'm thinking more like private space.
Well, again, the reason that we're here is that we are a CLEC, and that gives us the rights to right away, and it needs to be, there isn't the private land in the downtown like there is for cell towers that generally those are going in specific locations where at the capacity.
I'm just thinking what 75-foot structures we have existing. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Well, and if your hang-up is that you really don't like seeing 75-foot poles, I can go back and talk to mobility, and we can look at decreasing the height of them. Some of the ones that we put in Huntington City were a shorter pole. I believe a lot of them were 50 foot. But the trade-off for that is that it's probably going to be more poles then. And that's your choice as to if that's a trade-off that you're more comfortable with. My personal opinion, I was zoning administrator for the city of Auburn. That's how I knew Roger long before this. Once a pole's there, you look at maximum 35 foot of it. Your line of sight is what you see, and it's not that high. So once it's in the ground, all you're going to see is the wood pole, and it's going to look like most any other wood pole. Above that, once it's in the ground, nobody's going to pay attention to it 3 months down the road.
Except,
well, and that's, like I said, that's my opinion on this.
I'm thinking of right behind the PD. You think you're going to see it a long way away. But
well, that one, we're going to get to that one later. And if that one doesn't work, then...
an airport just south of that, too.
Well,
we're under
just south of the Bowman.
But if he's under 75, if he's 75 feet.
Yeah, we're under FAA needs. That's standard in the...
There's kind of an inside joke here. It's not a joke, though. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think I understand the concept. I'm just, I've been thinking, doing a little bit more research myself would be helpful.
When was this filed with the BZA?
What's that?
When was this filed with BZA?
When was it filed with the BZA?
We don't have a timeline.
There's a 90-day timeline.
The 15th of November.
Okay, so we got some time.
You got a little bit of time, but I would not put it off.
Yeah, I understand. You guys can agree with what I mean, you'd like to have a little time to do a little more research and fact-finding and
Yeah, I think so.
before we make a decision on something like this, yeah.
You give them your information if they got...
Oh, yeah. Let me give you my business card so you can
Contact you.
yeah, contact, call, email, whatever.
If you, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt, but if you went to a 50-foot tower, can you find out how many more towers that would mean?
I wouldn't be able to give you that number in any reasonable number because they're not going to even begin to research that without a direct requirement from the community. It's not cheap to do the research alone from these. And so without a direct requirement from the city that they go 250 foot, I can't give you them. But from a mobility's perspective, if that's the only hang-up and that's going to clear the deal and you guys are going to be comfortable with the 50 foot, they're going to go ahead and move forward with that. They want to work with the cities, and that's, I met with Roger and we looked over all 4 of these locations and adjusted literally all but one of them. We don't want to cause problems, so if a 50 foot is more comfortable, fine. If you'd like us to try to look at all co-locations, again, we're looking at a lot more, and we would need quite a bit of data from the community as far as, who owns light poles, where the light poles, and everything like that, to be able to start going down that path. But, we could do that, but we're not going to go down those paths without requirements and needs. So I guess if the thought process is we really like 50 foot more, I need you guys to tell me that tonight.
Okay, I would like a motion because we have a lot of things to cover and only 35 minutes left.
Motion to table discussion until our next meeting.
Okay, our next meeting is 2 weeks from this evening. Same time, same place. Second on that, Bill?
Yes, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Thank you. We can make a decision then 2 weeks from this evening.
Those PowerPoints that I provided you, don't show them to anybody else. That means please.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Ann, now we're going to start moving quick now. And Huntington, I know that. I know Mayor Fetter's over there too. Yeah.
We have a primary effluent pump, it's a 35 horse, it's fairly hefty pump. 3 of them were installed in 2008, and it just so happens this one pump out of the 3 has been repaired 3 times since 2013, and it is out of commission again. So we thought, okay, it's been fixed so many times, so we got a quote for a new pump, which is the first page here.
27.
Well, okay, the 3 times it's been repaired has totaled $19,000 into this pump in the last 3 years. So we quoted a new pump, which is the $31,000 price. So then we thought, oh great. So we before this pump was always repaired in Fort Wayne. So they used so-called aftermarket parts, just generic parts for a pump. So we talked to the actual flight distributor, which is this Xylem, and about repairing it. So they took the pump and analyzed everything that was wrong with it, and that is the bottom 2 pieces of paper, and came up with a repair estimate of $12,000.
With a 1-year warranty.
With a 1-year warranty. So then the rep from Xylem, he hand-delivered these to us, and then he told Verlin that we could do a new pump for $27,000, and then I believe it'd be the freight charge with a 5-year warranty, but it's like a December deal. So,
Black Friday?
in that...
Black Friday deal.
Yeah.
It's good this year only.
So, we're kind of inclined to get the new pump, but...
The new pump has a 5-year warranty with for $27,000. Repairing the old one's $12,276, and it only has a 1-year warranty.
Yeah, that doesn't sound all that great if they're putting new parts and redoing
The
it.
repairs before done in Fort Wayne were like between 5,000 and 7,000 each time.
Understand, but if they're putting the parts back that actually belong in this pump, and it's 12,000, and they only give you a 1-year warranty,
Yeah.
that's tells me that the parts are not that good, or their
I don't
labor
know,
is not
because see,
that
the
good.
other two pumps, they were put in 3 at the same time, and those other 2 have never been pulled yet for a
Wow.
repair.
And are they this type of pump then? The
They're all
new-
the same brand, yeah.
as the $27,000 one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you.
What
on
about money budgeted?
I talked to Dan about it, and we have money.
I'm inclined to go with a new pump.
Sounds like you got a letter to start with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cameron?
Yeah. New.
Have a motion?
Make a motion to go with a new pump.
Let's second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you, Ann.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Next thing I have is an interlocal agreement. We've kind of touched on this a little bit, and we're going to touch on it again at the council meeting, but I need to kind of throw it in front of the Board of Works first. Interlocal agreement with the county. It would be through the Soil and Water Conservation Office. It would be with a young man named Tim Graff. He's a graduate of Ball State with a natural resources degree, and we have not had anyone managing all of our stormwater affairs since Nate Roomschlag left us, and that's what this would be for, is for someone to handle all of our stormwater issues, as well as inspections on the building side of things, etc. What we kind of came up with, Nate had always shared with me that he himself, but he was very versed in this. He would work, 3 to 6, sometimes 8 hours a week on the stormwater side. So we offered the county the equivalency of 10 hours a week at $20 an hour. And I think it came out to $10,400 in a 52-week period. And that was sufficient. That was good on the county's part. It's a good deal for us.
Yes.
We don't have to pay any benefits or anything like that. It's just a flat $10,400 that we would pay the county quarterly. We've had a few meetings with Tim and with Sandy Vogelweed, which would be his boss, and then also the board of directors for the solid waste district, soil and water conservation, not solid waste district. Thank you. And we've been to the county commissioners meeting. We've been to the county council meeting. Everyone's on board with it. So
How about item in Reggie's the replacement?
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
would we need to get
we have-
their grace?
We have talked to Reggie's replacement. Yeah, we had a meeting with her last week, and she met Tim, and she met us, and yeah, she's all good to go with
Good,
all of this.
good.
Yeah, she came
Okay.
up to Decatur and met with us.
Okay, good.
Can't remember her name, but yes, she was,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah. Tim, what is the reason I need to bring this to the Board of Works and not just
Okay.
council?
We're doing this as an interlocal agreement, which requires the executive bodies of the 2 governmental units to approve this. So the Board of Works deals or oversees stormwater management, so it's the executive that would approve a resolution that, and then sign the agreement. The county commissioners need to approve a similar resolution, and then the 2 fiscal bodies also sign the agreement, because if you don't, it has to go down to the Indiana Attorney General and get his blessing, which will take forever. So, to get around that, as long as the fiscal bodies both sign on it as well, you can record the interlocal agreement, and you don't have to send it down to Indianapolis.
So we would introduce this resolution
Yeah, it'd be
to the Board of Works.
And what I did is the resolution simply, says you have a right to enter into interlocal agreements. You're doing so. We attach a copy of the contract as Exhibit A. And Cam just described kind of the details of the contract.
And then we would then do what at the
Resolution would be signed by the Board of Works. Board of Works would sign the interlocal agreement. At council, the council would approve
the
the
interlocal
agreement and sign it as well.
Okay. Council has nothing to do with the resolution, just the interlocal agreement. Okay, I'm with you. So what resolution number would this be, Phyllis?
17.
It would be 2016-17.
I will make a motion to introduce resolution 2016-17 by short title.
I have a motion and a second to introduce resolution 2016-17, and if I might, Tim, could I read it, please? By short title, resolution of the Decatur Board of Public Works and Safety, which approves an interlocal agreement with Adams County, Indiana regarding stormwater management services.
Sorry, make a motion to adopt resolution 2016-17.
A motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2016-17. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you. Then we'll take this back up at the council meeting. Les, if you want to come back up, we'll go through the township renewal. You prepared for that tonight? Or is that Phyllis? You can still come on back up and we'll polish up your... Each year we renew with the townships a fee that we assess them for fire protection.
Right.
And there is a very specific formula that's used that I believe Pete Brown created back several years ago, if I remember what John told us, right, Phyllis? Is that right? You don't remember? Yeah, I think he said Pete Brown put a lot of work into it and came up with a nice little formula as to how we assess it. And it's worked out real well. So Phyllis, what do you have?
I have two copies. One copy is for us, and the other one for the township trustee.
Okay.
Total $43,679.05 for the four townships. I think Union Township is $7,425.44 a year. Washington Township is $12,230.13. Root Township, $16,161.25, and St. Mary's Township, $7,862.23. And this is calculated on the assessed valuation and the fire department 2016 budget. That's how we arrive at
It's
those figures.
always a budget year behind. Their assessment's always a budget year behind.
And this is a Board of Works matter, so we would just need approval to...
Everybody has time.
And that, the last 2 years, that's went into a reverting fire equipment fund, I think at least the last two, if not three.
Mhm.
So it is
It's a good thing.
reverting balance for us, yes.
And I notified the township trustee in July how much they're going to have to pay, so they can budget for it. They're aware of this, but we have to have you guys sign plus the township trustee board sign.
So I would welcome a motion to...
Approve them as submitted.
Yeah. Thank you. To accept the contract as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. We'll need to sign these then here with Phyllis. Jeremy, well, wait a minute, hold on, we gotta go back to the fire. Did you have a chance to look through the proposal on the grass truck?
Yeah,
Any hiccups there?
round two, there is a
Yes.
hiccup.
There is a hiccup.
He quoted the wrong chassis. We called him.
You called him.
We called him. It would be a $4,000 upgrade for the chassis.
We expect a crew and a cab and a half
Extended cabin.
and
He put
an
in
extended cabinet, and it's
supposed to be a crew
supposed to be a
cab.
crew, which would be that's the Ford side, would be a 4,000. So it's up to you guys
For
whether
the equipment that's going in the back.
his
Ford
portion,
cab.
what he's fabricating is okay. It's the chassis.
Can we even, legally?
You reserve the right to waive irregularities.
Yeah. I think the board works can reject all bids.
Yeah, but does it say
I
that
don't
you
know
have
if
the
it
right
says
to...
regulate, no.
You,
No. I believe so.
I would think not.
I think when we do the farm license, that's in the farm license, but this is in regular bid.
I would suggest in the future that we have language in here that you reserve the right to waive all irregularities.
Because if we wait,
Well, yeah, we'll be to a point now where I'll have to budget it in 18's load.
Would they be willing to keep it at that same price and not change that?
$4,000 is quite a bit.
On a truck this size, that's going to be a lot of their markup there. I mean, if it was a ladder truck, it would be probably a moot point, but on a truck this small, that's probably a pretty good chunk of their margin would be in that chassis.
Would they accept the $4,000 next year?
Well,
That way you can budget?
It's not gonna be
yeah, but
fixed
the,
next
I
year.
mean, it's
Because it won't
I
be
think it's the
built
legal
next
point.
year.
Oh,
I thought we were, are they buying the chassis?
Well,
That was discussed.
they're going to locate the chassis in the QPA system. So
So how was this bid? Was that an alternate?
it's bid as one. It's bid as one.
Their obligation under the bid specs
Right.
are that they're to provide the chassis.
Yeah.
Our bid specs say it's to be this chassis, and they bid something different.
They bid a crew
They
instead
looked
of
at a crew cab instead of a extended cab instead of a crew cab.
instead of a.
You said it's supposed to be an extended and they did through?
No, they
Or the opposite?
actually we needed a bigger cab, and they did the cab and a half, not the four-door cab.
Okay.
The only problem is going to be that, now it's going to have to go into 18's load versus,
What I would recommend is, because the statute allows you to waive irregularities, that you indicate that because an emergency exists, by virtue of the fact you're not going to have this bid beyond the end of the year, that you waive the irregularity and you...
It's not like there's 5
You had-
bids, there's one
no,
bid.
you had one bid
Right.
twice now.
Yeah.
So it's not like this is something that's out there actively being competed for. If you had other bids,
Then it would be a
then
problem.
then you couldn't do this.
Okay, yeah, because the actual fabrication part that he separated out is 68 and some change. So, and that would be the same whether that would be on a crew cab or an extended cab. So,
And it's going to be purchased through Cupid,
yeah, it will be.
so it's not like he's going out and
No, he's
bidding
only
it, he's just
passing-
finding it somewhere.
He's only passing on
Right.
the QPA difference.
That would be another justification for going
So-
out and accepting it
So
that
you're
way.
going to,
So based on the emergency time frame of us not having the time to consider this at a later
You've bid it
date,
twice, you've only had one bid.
and the fact we've only
The
had...
fact that the chassis is going to be acquired through the state bidding, you can weigh the irregularity and approve the additional expense to get the chassis that was spec'd.
I'll make a
If you
motion,
choose to.
I will make a motion to waive the irregularity and accept the bid.
Which would bring the bid up to $110,144, correct?
correct, yes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same, thank you. What else did we have for you?
Well, Tyler explained that.
Yeah.
The,
Campman's charges.
it's, yeah, he can, there were two extra pages that might have been, Phyllis might have figured in, but I got the right pages.
And what was the amount then?
11,660 was what was, yeah, 'cause these were the two, and Mr. Planner's was short because it was only included the bath. It didn't even include the carpet or anything else, so, yeah, so it's...
But the figure is 11,660 that we...
Yeah.
Okay.
Which does require Board of Works approval. It was budgeted money, right?
Yes, it was additional.
Requires BOW approval because it's over 10,000.
This one is
No.
Just go ahead and make a motion.
Yes.
After the fact, yeah.
Bill made the motion.
Second.
Cam seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We can move on.
Tell them to read a little better.
Yeah, really. Jeremy? What's that? Gotta look.
As long as I don't talk.
No. Yeah. Jeremy has a truck that he needs to salvage out. You want to explain all that to us?
Approximately 18 months ago, the Parks Department was using a 1991 Dodge Ram pickup truck. And they're using it basically to pick up trash and do some miscellaneous park maintenance. It developed the name of the Fred and Barney Mobile for a lot of reasons. It become, I felt unsafe to drive. I discussed it with our city mechanic. You know, he was in agreement. So roughly a year and a half ago, we decommissioned it, and it's been sitting out back. The last several weeks, we've been doing a lot of cleaning up around the yard. I discussed with the city park board the last meeting that we had about just getting rid of it. It's really unfit to drive. It's worth nothing. They agreed to just call State Line Auto Parts or someone of that nature to come and get it. You're looking probably $350, $400 is about all you're going to get out of it. I'm just asking for your approval to go ahead and proceed with that and just get rid of it. Take it off the insurance. We've gone along with it for the last year and a half, so I don't see any real issue with replacement.
It all gotta go sometime, right?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to get rid of it.
I'll second it.
Motion from Cam and a second from Bill. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Thank you. While we have you up here, Jeremy and I attended our, what was it called?
The early coordination meeting with NDOT for the federal aid grant.
for the 5 Points intersection. And there's it gets kind of cumbersome. First of all, they said that the first thing they told us was that as it is right now, this project would likely not go until 2022, which could start as early as July of 2021. And it's all kind of in the time frame of when we bid it. We would like it to be done probably in the summer months, so we'd probably realistically be looking at the summer of 2021. But then they shared with us that the state legislature is going to bring up the state buying out all, what are these called, LP?
LPA federal aid projects.
And that's what this is. This is a federal aid project. Yes. It's going to go before the legislature for the state to buy these out. They said that that's going to be very confusing and that they're going to need a lot of time to do that, to even take this before the legislature. That likely wouldn't even happen, if it happens, until April. So there's a chance that that NDOT could get bought out of this through the state, and if that would be the case, then NDOT wouldn't be involved, and it would just be a project that they would give us the $1.8 million or whatever, and we go down there and do it. It would be up to us for everything as far as right-of-way, utilities, everything, okay? It would be cheaper to do it that way, but no help from NDOT.
They're really setting up the path. The more and more I think about this after yesterday, being that they come up with this new system this time around.
Instead of the
I
80-20.
think they're setting up their way of this going through, because all they awarded was the construction money. If this passes, all they're going to award is the construction money.
That's to put the bill on it.
You're footing 20% of the construction plus 100% of PE and right-of-way and so on and so forth.
And who knows if this will make it through the legislature. If it doesn't, then they assured us that we would get money for utilities and right-of-ways and that they would help us out. They couldn't put an amount on it, but they would be helping us out. So they did give us the okay to go ahead, and Jeremy's going to start work. How do you do it? You put it out at RFP or whatever?
You have to put out an RFP and an RFQ through NDOT. They will still do everything. When it comes to contract negotiations for PE, we negotiate it, we stop.
Yeah.
They don't want to sign in anything until
After April.
this either passes or fails.
They do the specs.
Yes.
We narrow it down, and then we start negotiating.
We
Sign
negotiate
anything.
fees, you get it to the signature portion, and you quit.
So we just sit there then.
So then you just sit and wait. What they did is they pushed construction out 1 year to kind of help themselves figure out what's going to happen between now and April. And then if it does pass, then that helps them because it's pushing all the projects out another 12 months for the buyout.
Tim, you think the state would do that?
I think if they think they're going to save money, they will.
Yeah.
It's another instance where things are getting pushed down to the local level as far as expense.
It's real similar to the community crossings grant that just came out, where they just push the money out into the communities, and then they start pulling back a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, and that's basically what they're. I think they're really going to kind of see what the next 5 or 6 months is with community crossings, and then if it seems to work out, they will adjust the rules.
Now explain the community crossings to everyone so that they...
That was the dollar for dollar matching grant that was out. It was just kind of a fly by night kind of program to start out with. It was in good intention, but they didn't have the rules set up. There was a big push to get the money out. Where if you had a $50,000 or if you had a $100,000 project, the LPA would put out 50. State would put out another 50 on top of it. So just a 1-for-1. But what they did is when they there was such a rush to get the money out, like the vote, special distribution, that they didn't set the rules and the guidelines up. They just said, gave it to NDOT and says, do this. Well, when they did that, there was things like environmental, right-of-way, and such that was not required or supposedly required until the consultant world got a hold of it and decided that, hey, you guys can't be doing this. So then they start pulling back. Technically there's a few communities that are going back and having to scale their projects back a little bit because of
So they want us to do all this pre-work and then wait till April to see what happens in the legislature.
Yes.
What costs do we have at the moment?
You will have no cost between now and April.
It's just the process of negotiating.
Correct.
But
You will,
But if it gets put all back to us, we don't have money to pay for it.
it's just going to be a budgeting.
Well, regardless whether the NDOT's involved or not, we're going to have funds that we have to put into this. It could be less on our behalf if we do it locally.
It would be less funds, it would be more man hours. Primarily on Tim's end when it gets to the right of way and so on and so forth, the buying, acquisition, or relocation and such.
By the state.
It's all doable, don't get me wrong, but between now and April, it's going to tell the tale as to what that top dollar is going to end up being.
So you were in training for that.
So your recommendation is to do it?
Well,
We're just
right, he's just here to tell us tonight.
We need to go ahead and start the selection process and then get to the signature portion and then stall out until we see if this passes. For the simple fact is they don't want anybody signing any contracts until they figure this out. Because that negotiation amount, or that contract amount, is going to be either here or here depending on if this passes. Because if it doesn't pass, you're still going to have to go off the 10 to 13% or whatever it is rate of the total project compared to if it does pass, then you can bargain shop, basically, if you will, for an amount that you feel comfortable with.
I realize that it may be in our favor ultimately, financial-wise, but I feel like this is very disingenuous of the state. To say, hey, this is what we're going to do, and this is what here's what you have to commit to, and this is what we're going to do.
Here's what we signed up for, and now you're telling us this is how we're going to have to do it.
Yeah. Then they come back and say, now that you've committed,
It seems to me
we're going to change the rules on you.
Yeah, it seems to me that.
Well, but
If they want to do that, post all this, that's fine, but don't do it on...
moving forward,
I think that's what we make the argument to Matt.
Right.
Say, look, we relied upon, our understanding was, this is how it has always worked, this is what we're bidding on. Now you're telling us you're going to change the rules. If you want to change the rules, change them from here on out. Don't affect us. We're grandfathered in under the existing formula.
But it was anything for this call is supposed to follow this procedure. No, it's all in that we're awarded.
You got 3 minutes, Greg. Should we do it in 3 minutes?
Sure. I mean, it's just information that,
Greg has a question about, it's basically at the Catholic school and at Zion, where they block off the street with barricades.
Yeah. We had an officer get called down to 4th Street because somebody had gone around the barricades there, and which is understandable. But we have nothing in ordinance form that allows us to enforce that because, and I haven't researched into it a lot. There's in the present ordinance that we have, even in the past one, it has something to do with school plats and their usage, and I don't quite understand them. But in any case, the Catholic school, I know, blocks off 4th Street from Monroe Street to Madison Street from like 9 or so o'clock in the morning until approximately 1 o'clock or whatever. And it's not for usage in the street, it's just for protection of the kids going across back and forth.
Right.
So I understand the whole concept of that, but it's just like if somebody goes around those barricades or what have you, we have no authority
Lawfully, there's nothing you can do.
to cite them or that type of thing.
So do we need to consider an ordinance as
An
such?
ordinance that would put, allowing them to barricade those streets.
That's in the ordinance, we have that.
No, we don't have that.
But when you
Yeah, we did.
approached us about Zion, that was part of it.
Yeah. Zion, we got an ordinance for blocking the street from,
I thought so too, and Zion wanted to do
Yep.
it as well.
Yeah.
He did an ordinance.
Well, then I haven't seen that, I couldn't find
Okay.
it, so I'll get with you then.
Yeah, why don't you look into it a little further and we can talk
Or
again.
whatever,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, that's great, then I'll get with you, okay.
Okay.
we did that because it was the same concept. We're going over to the playground.
This
And
guy was lost, the other day.
I don't think he was lost, I think.
That little,
May have been lost.
that could have been very bad.
So again, I mean, I have nothing against blocking off the streets or anything, I just like to have some teeth in order to,
Right,
in order
right.
to do that, so.
Okay, we'll cross that bridge here in a couple of weeks and
Okay.
again, look into it a little further. And with that, it's 7:30, well, we got 10 seconds, but I have a motion to adjourn.
So move.
A motion and a second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Board of Works is
You're not allowed to say aye.